Thursday, brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, heartbreaking.
Oh, God.
Parents react to killing of 16-year-old Ocho Rios High student. Here to help, government promises support to family and school community. Inquiry this, sexual harassment, minors, what the law says. Later in Business Report, laying the foundations for diaspora return. While in sports, defending champions India reached T20 final after nail-biting contest with England.
CVM News at 7, headlines Thursday, brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy.
Should critical illness strike? Don't let worry fill your head. Say hello to happiness and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan. Secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness ahead of time while benefiting from our investment portfolio and so much more. Give yourself and your family the peace of mind you deserve with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan today. And live secure, live easy.
Say aloha flavor. We know pizza. It's literally in our name.
Pizza Hut. Yeah. We know pizza. Pizza Hut. For the love of pizza. Pizza Hut. Yeah. The sweet and the savory. Pizza Hut. Hawaiian, no normal. Clearly.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Thursday, March 5, 2026. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you for joining us. A family in Buckfield, St. Anne is tonight trying to process the devastating loss of a young boy, a tragedy that has shaken the small community. As loved ones struggle with grief and unanswered questions, the pain inside one home reflects just how deeply this loss is being felt. CVM's Andre Jebinson reports.
Buckfield, St. Anne was quiet on Thursday, but as you got closer to Milton Shearer's house, the silence broke. From outside, you could hear it, weeping and wailing spilling through the window and into the yard. Inside the home, grief filled every corner. On the edge of Devonay's bed sat a father crying like a child himself. Beside him, a mother, no longer his partner in life, but in that moment, the two were united again by the unbearable loss of a child. Shearer struggled to breathe between sobs. He stepped outside for air, but the breeze did little to steady him.
Wow. Tell me about your son, sir.
One of the best. One of the best. I have a problem. I just see man in phone, game, school, that of him. I'm talking about him, I say, boy, deal for you. And I think I'm so nice. I say, I'm talking about daddy. I'm in school, you know. What a good job you have here, my mother and my sister, you know. Take them out of the country and keep them light. Jesus Christ.
Words of comfort from those gathered around him floated past, unable to land. Outside, he recounted the last conversation he had with his son.
Best. I don't know what I tell about it. One of the best. I'm looking for my I tell you. I love all of my kids. But boy, this one I come like I'm alive. So quiet.
The words came slowly. He said he had lost his favorite boy. But before he could finish the thought, the emotion overwhelmed him.
I work me there. The power of my scaffold, I work and me and me in the hospital, I jump off of the scaffold. And I come here and tell me, say, boy, I call the teacher, me tell me that they can't tell me what happen. I have to come up at school and to the hospital. That me say, I'm dead in the hospital. Dead. Oh, God. Oh, my Holy Father. Oh, God.
Several miles away in Westmoreland, the boy's mother, Kashima, had first heard the news on Wednesday that her son had been injured. She was told to come to St. Anne.
I have 4 children, the one the quietest one in the trouble. And school to home. I give me no talking, I give me no trouble.
How you heard about it?
Just now. Just reach here from Hanover. Because they only tell me say you get hit with the chair. But they never tell me say you dead.
Merlene, the boy's stepmother, tried to keep busy. Anything to keep the tears at bay. Outside, she showed us Devonay's bloodied clothes.
The teacher called me yesterday evening about 3 o'clock or some minutes to 3. Sometime around there, and said I'm to come to the hospital because my son is on the way to the hospital. I said, what is it, man? Anyway, my other son, my biggest son, which is Craig, was here. I said, Craig, bring me to the school. And we went to the school, and then from the school to the hospital. When I went to the hospital, I'm telling them, it's not a pretty sight. God in heaven. No, say it's not a pretty sight. Me have to beg God to just hold me.
Neighbors stood in small groups, shaking their heads in disbelief.
The little boy coming like a me birth him, watch him grow. Full of manners, principle, no friend. Him is just a 1 in a million. And I cry for him so much.
Beyond this wall is where Devonay lived with his father and his stepmother. They have been receiving visitors for the entire day. People just passing by to give as much support as they can after this traumatic situation that occurred on Wednesday. To my left, people are still having conversations about what could have led to his demise yesterday, because as we have told you, it has been playing out for days. And unfortunately, it culminated with the death of Devonay on Wednesday afternoon. A team from the Ministry of Education visited the grieving family. The minister has promised support as they try to navigate the days ahead. Andre Jebinson, CVM News.
Meanwhile, a viral video has shifted the tone of criticism regarding what CVM News has since learned was an ongoing conflict between the 2 students that would eventually end in death on Wednesday. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon described the ordeal as heartbreaking while visiting the school Thursday, pledging psychosocial support and aid to those in grief. It was only Tuesday, a day before the tragedy, that this video was recorded in Ocheria's St. Anne. 2 Ocheria's High students and another male who it's understood is the brother of the now deceased appear to be attacking the accused killer. But the steam followed the teens to school, where another round of fight erupted. This time, the alleged victim, fueled by rage, reportedly used a chair to deal the deadly blow.
When you have a conflict that results in violence, what ends up happening is that one family is plunged in mourning and another family is plunged in despair, because you're likely to have one person going off to the penitentiary and another person going off to the cemetery. So we want to just emphasize and underscore the importance of responsible behavior and fostering peace across the length and breadth of Jamaica. So it's very sad to be here and having to be, interfacing with the school community in these kinds of moments.
Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon described the outcome as unfortunate, while hinting that tragedy might have been preventable.
There was an incident the day before, not at school, in the town, and that no report was made to the school or to the police of that incident. And that is concerning because we have school resource officers at the school, we have guidance counselors, we have deans of disciplines at schools. And so there are ways that we can de-escalate situations like this, but we can only do it when we have a report. And so it's important that parents, if you know of anything, if you hear of anything, report it to us so that we can intervene so it does not escalate. But what happened yesterday is just heartbreaking.
She says the government's committed to providing trauma and psychosocial support to the school as they continue to grieve. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament Matthew Samuda echoed the minister's sentiments, adding the discipline and safety of the nation's children is not the responsibility of only parents or schools.
Parents aren't supposed to bury their children. It breaks the natural order of the lived experience that we all expect. So when something like this happens and the circumstances that we're being told of that surround the issue, it makes it even more tragic than you want to contemplate. The students are hurting, the teachers are hurting, the principal, the school board, but the whole community is indeed hurting. And we will need significant psychosocial support interventions in the community to ensure that this becomes a rallying cry for communities to work together and to give a better eye to our children and not something that divides us.
Samuda told her news team much effort has been made by the school to provide safety and reduce incidents of violence, evidenced by the installation of a metal detector at the gate.
It's a large school, over 2,000 students, and the communities that surround it are particularly densely populated. Some have the challenges, some don't. We would have had an incident last year, I believe, with a firearm on campus. So significant efforts have been made by the police, by the school directorate, by the regional team at the Ministry of Education to increase the security oversight of the premises, which is why it's particularly unfortunate that there was no report of the incident the day before, because we'd have been able to intervene.
Only this week, schools across Jamaica celebrated Peace Day with hopes of fewer such incidents. Rising concerns tonight about violence in Jamaica's schools. The video now circulating on social media showing the fight between students at the secondary school in St. Anne has sparked national debate about student behavior and safety on campuses. Education stakeholders say the issue of school violence is deeper than psychological and requires more than disciplinary action to solve. Our reporter Akeem Oret has more.
This is a video circulating on social media of a fight at a secondary school. This, plus the killing of a student by another at the Ocherius High School in St. Anne, has once again put the spotlight on violence in schools. President of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, Linvern Wright, says violence among students is far more complex than society may believe.
You check many of our young people, what is happening to them? Significant trauma. They are beaten, they are spoken to aggressively, and there's a feeling that we cannot resolve anything without being draconian. The same kind of thing I feel with our police. Our police, for example, figure that if you notice, for example, how we're dealing with crime now, there's a concern with how we figure that what has to happen is that we have to kill. So the police feels that kind of thing. Many people feel that kind of thing. People feel they have to have guns, they have to have arms in order to deal with things.
The JAP's president argues enough time is not spent on developing soft skills.
More has got to be done in society for people to understand that when somebody does something to you, for example, at a gas station, it's not just fire burning them, as many people would say. It can't be about that. It can't be about man for dead. It has got to be a culture where we understand that we are addressing the problem. Killing the person does not address the problem.
He adds further that it will take a multi-sector approach involving parents, educators, counselors and community leaders to address the deeper issues contributing to school violence.
We have got to ensure that in the way community policing has got to be one of those things that help people to soften their skills. In the way we invest in the social side of schooling. We're talking about CXC results. The fact is that you want people to pass the CXC in 5 years, but the truth is that we have got them to pass habits and character and honesty. You know, things like that. We want habits of character and honesty. We have got to ensure that we have systems that actually develop this. Enough time is not spent developing those things. It has to be better parenting. And this is the first thing I should have said. That parents have got to ensure that we nurture skills that are soft skills in our children. Responsibility, integrity, care, love. Those things are things we've got to talk about.
President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Mark Malava, says schools are currently not equipped to deal with some of the underlying issues.
It's one of the reasons why as JTA president, I've called for the presence of deans of discipline in every single school. It's one of the reasons that I have called for, you know, a ratio, for example, with respect to deans of discipline in the various schools. There's also the psychosocial component of things, and that needs to be, and that definitely needs greater support.
Akeem Oret reporting for CVM News.
CVM News at 7 continues in just a moment.
Ready, tech, grow! Business is fast, easy, flexible, and costs less. Oh, entrepreneurs, let's go digital! The government of Jamaica and the European Union present Digital Jamaica Training Series. Learn how technology grows your business. Choose the right digital tools. Manage your staff, customers, and money digitally. Data security and privacy. Artificial intelligence. We'll be in every parish. Apply online. www.jbdc.net. Log on fast. Digital Jamaica. Powering connectivity for MSMEs. Say aloha flavor. We know pizza. It's literally in our name.
Pizza Hut, yeah. We know pizza. Pizza Hut, for the love of pizza. Pizza Hut, yeah. The sweet and the savory. Pizza Hut, Hawaiian, no normal, clearly. Pizza Hut.
Guess what me do? What you do? Me go check me prostate.
No, seriously? Me nah do that.
Remember say that pops drop out from, you know. Me have to take it serious. You can't just do the blood test, you know. But better safe than sorry. So me do the full package. Plus, the NHF card help pay for the PSA test. Biggs, you're 40, you know. The earlier, the better. Guys, me know you still want fire on all cylinder.
NHF is here for health. NHF is here.
Thanks so much for staying with us. Still in the local news, amid mounting pressure from the Donald Trump administration, Jamaica has ended its medical cooperation program with Cuba. The announcement was made in a release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Thursday afternoon. The move ends a 5-decade relationship under which healthcare workers from the Spanish-speaking island helped with key gaps in Jamaica's health sector. The release says, quote, "The government of Jamaica has taken the decision to discontinue the current arrangement concerning the deployment of medical professionals in the public health sector by the government of Cuba." The move comes amid intensified pressure on Cuba by the U.S., with other countries in the region also ending their medical cooperation. The ministry says Cuban healthcare workers now in Jamaica may be engaged individually for the remainder of their scheduled tenure, in keeping with the country's labor laws. Joining us now to discuss and react to this developing story, we have opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes. Welcome, Dr. Dawes.
Hi, good evening, and good evening to all the viewers.
Indeed. In a time when we have a shortage of healthcare workers and the health minister has publicly called for specialist nurses overseas to return home, is this a good move by the Holness administration?
This is a devastating blow to healthcare in Jamaica. We are surrendering 50 years of partnership that have helped countless Jamaicans, and we are doing it because of diplomatic expediency. We have bowed to U.S. pressure, and it's the ordinary Jamaicans who will feel it. The unfortunate thing is that we cannot do without the Cubans at this point in time. Their level of expertise and the fact that they are deployed in underserved areas and they are in highly specialized areas. And we have to point out the Cuban eye care program that does maybe about 3 to 4 times the number of cataract surgeries than KPH that we can do here in Jamaica. So we are going to be left with a lot of persons suffering from eye conditions, and the biomedical department that normally fixes and maintains our equipment, they're gone as well. And we know that we have an issue with equipment maintenance and functionality here in Jamaica. So it's very difficult to predict what is going to happen next. We did know this was coming. As a matter of fact, there was a slow ending of the program by attrition, because whenever the Cubans' contracts were expired, they left the island and they were never replaced. So there have been less and less Cubans working. So this is really no surprise. And I'm hoping that because the Ministry of Health saw it coming, then they would have done already their needs analysis and seen where the gaps are, and have started to make some attempts at filling those gaps. But it's going to be very difficult to fill those gaps.
Dr. Dawes, Jamaica accepts anywhere between 100 to 300 Cuban nurses and doctors annually. How then will we now be filling this gap?
It's extremely difficult because, one, the specialists are hard to come by. We cannot pay nurses enough to come to Jamaica. We have a problem with nurses leaving Jamaica to go to other Caribbean countries and first world countries because the conditions are better and the pay is better. So I do not see nurses coming home. I do not see specialists coming home. We cannot train them fast enough. And then you have to look at the social aspects of having persons living in the underserved areas. The Cubans, they'll come and go to the rural clinics, the underserved hospitals. I can tell you at Savamar Hospital, we were highly dependent on the Cubans because not many Jamaicans wanted to stay there because of the issues with schooling and amenities and so forth. So the Cubans fill a gap that Jamaicans will not want to fill, and we're going to find it very difficult to fill that gap now that the agreement has ended.
Cost-wise, is it not perhaps going to be much harder for us to manage to individually acquire or retain those who want to remain here?
So I've seen that part of the release, and essentially what they are advocating for is that the Cubans defect and stay. There is no other explanation for it. And not many Cubans are going to want to defect because of their patriotism, for one. And I'm sure that there may be some social consequences, leaving your family behind, because many of them, they use this opportunity to go overseas, earn more money than they would have earned in Cuba. And that is how they raise their standard of living and support their families. I personally know some Cubans who their tour of duty ended, they went back, and then they were trying to come here. The procedure is a bit arduous, especially for doctors. Nurses with registration already may be a little bit easier, but it's not going to be as easy to get Cubans to come because we don't pay as much as the Gulf states, South America, and other Caribbean countries. So it's going to be difficult to entice them to come back.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Alfred Dawes, opposition spokesman on health. Thanks again for joining us.
Welcome.
Well, recently, a chef was charged after allegedly sending pornographic videos to a 12-year-old girl, once again highlighting the dangers children face both online and offline. Sexual harassment involving minors is often a silent issue, occurring at school, on the road, or in spaces meant to offer protection. In this week's episode of Query This, Akeem Oret examines the law surrounding sexual harassment, particularly when minors are involved. Here now is Query This.
48-year-old chef Carlington Hemmings has been arrested and charged for allegedly sending pornographic material to a 12-year-old girl. Reports indicate that Hemmings met the child while traveling in a taxi. During the journey, he allegedly engaged the child in a conversation and requested her telephone number. Instead, the child reportedly gave him her mother's contact. Later that day, investigators say several sexually explicit messages and pornographic videos were sent to what he thought was the child's phone number. Cases like this raises serious concern about child safety and the law's role in protecting minors. Attorney at law Alexander Shaw explains what constitutes sexual harassment involving a minor, particularly within school and youth settings.
Sexual harassment generally is about unwelcome sexual advances, and so offensive or humiliating act that interferes with school performance or something that creates a hostile environment for both students and workers in the space.
For your child who may have been sexually assaulted at school, Mr. Shaw says there are immediate legal steps you can take once that assault has been reported. But responsibility does not rest solely with you as the parent. For an unfortunate event where the school fails to address the issue, failure to act exposes the institution to liability.
The issue boils down to the safety of the child. And so if it is something that interferes with the child psychologically, and as a result the child is unable to function by virtue of what's happening, then the parent, could also visit the Ministry of Education, or I would say ensure that the Ministry of Education is aware, and if you have exhausted all the possible means, then you can take legal actions. But the first step is to ensure that you inform all the relevant parties, all the relevant authorities, so that actions can be taken.
In a case where the accused is also a minor, Attorney Shaw notes under the Child Protection Act, the law balances accountability, rehabilitation, and justice for the victim.
In law, if the accused is below age 12, we say that the person is duly incapax. But if the person is above age 12, then that individual, like any ordinary Jamaican, can face criminal prosecution. The law, though, treats minors differently as opposed to adults.
If you're a parent and you're facing this difficult reality, Attorney Shaw has this advice.
Sexual harassment is a very sensitive situation. And you find that depending on the nature of the harassment and who the person is, I have had cases in the past where the victims do not want to relive the experience. And so parents have to treat with the matter sensitively, but at the same time ensure that they provide a safe space.
Sexual harassment involving minors is a serious offense, and silence only allows it to continue. Report it now. You can contact the Child Protection Family Services Agency hotline at 211 or WhatsApp at 876-878-2882. The Center for Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, CISOCA, at 876-926-4079. Remember, if you have a legal dilemma or concern you would like us to query, send an email at aorit@cvmtv.com. I am Akeem Orit. See you next week on Query This.
There's more CVM News at 7 right after the break.
Do it for your best life. Go check your HIV status.
So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself do it for you, do it for you. Every time you a link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan, do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life.
The KFC value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous blue combo for just $640.
The time by KFC is 7:30.
Power in great moments. If you have financial needs, Chris and Charles will fix them for you. Power in great moments since 1992. Oh, we have it all. Power in great moments. Relax, you got Chris and Charles. Oh, we have it all. When you think alone, think.
Welcome back. It's now time for the Business Report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to celebrate with you in the Business Report today about the lore and growing allure of Jamaica from the perspective of a son of the soil who is part of the 70th anniversary celebrations of the New York headquartered and award-winning Loring Consulting Engineers Inc. Not only returned to the island as its CEO and largest shareholder, but also officially launched its first Jamaican office. That man is O'Neill Gale.
My story starts in Jamaica. I was actually born in St. James at a Cornell Regional Hospital and grew up in Westmoreland, so I'm a country boy at heart.
He attended Manning School before beginning his studies at the University of Technology.
In my final 2 years of high school, I actually picked up the shot put and the discus and ended up getting a track and field scholarship to UTech to pursue mechanical plant engineering. And in 2002, one of my classmates in engineering school recommended me for a summer internship at Loring. And, you know, I'll say the rest is history, but not really.
Since then, Loring Consulting Engineers Inc. has enjoyed a spectacular run of success.
We've been in business for 70 years, as everyone has said. Staff of over 200, gross revenue over 50 million, and currently working on over 100 active projects with construction value over $7 billion US. We are the largest independent MEP consulting firm in New York City at this moment. In addition to being one of the largest black-owned MEP firms in the United States.
So why a Jamaica office? And why now? The answer came mid-air during a trip to the island in 2022.
During that flight, I asked myself a question. I said, why did I not return to Jamaica as I had planned after my studies? And I really was kind of like mad at myself for kind of like abandoning Jamaica. I felt guilty, I'll be honest with you. But the answer was simple. It was lack of opportunity. In that moment, I made a commitment to myself to create opportunities for young engineers to help build and grow their careers in Jamaica. And I had no idea how I would do it. I think by the time I was on the flight back, I figured out what I would have done. In 1 month, I commissioned a study from Crichton Mullings to do a feasibility study for doing business in Jamaica. 2 months, I was looking for office space in Kingston. And in four months, our company was registered and we started our hiring plan. With the help of companies like Regis, who were able to get us started right away. By June 2023, we had an office and started with 10 people. This launch announces to Jamaica in a bold way our intent to revolutionize the MEP industry, support the development of Jamaica's infrastructure, and raise the standards of the building systems while providing lifelong career opportunities for the local engineers.
By the end of 2026, the Jamaican office, Loring's first Caribbean location and second internationally, intends to employ a total of 40, opening the door to what the president of UTech, Dr. Kevin Brown, describes as a long-dormant potential for the next generation of Jamaican engineers.
For decades, Jamaica's growth in the service sector has anchored itself on business process outsourcing, BPOs, right? One of the largest employers in Jamaica. That industry has created a huge amount of employment. But with the emergence of artificial intelligence, there is a risk. And what O'Neill has established here represents the next phase, Minister, of national evolution. Knowledge process outsourcing. Knowledge process outsourcing. The Jamaica office for Loring is executing high-level engineering design. This is not a BPO. This is not a call center. This is not providing customer service. This is high-level engineering design. This is precisely the pathway. We must grow a STEM pipeline, not just in the education system, but we must produce more engineers, technologists, and data specialists that can gain employment from companies such as Loring. O'Neill has not only opened an office, but he has set a precedence for others to follow. The key question for Jamaica is how can you attract more companies to open their branches here to do the same thing?
For Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change Matthew Samuda, it invites an alternative perspective on the ambitions of Jamaica's 2030 vision.
For us, Vision 2030 can be described in many ways, and Vision 2030 is our national development agenda accepted by both political sides of the aisle. But I think the best way to describe it is what you see with Loring's sign behind me. It is when Jamaicans who have access to everything that everywhere in the world has to offer choose to come back home because there's sufficient opportunity here for investment, for quality of living. And I think when we achieve that at a mass scale, that is when we would have achieved Vision 2030.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
We now turn to Marshall Hazley with regional and international news.
We begin with regional news. In St. Lucia, concerns are growing over the possible impact of the ongoing Middle East war, with some members of society warning it could force a return to back to basics. The view aligns with recent remarks by Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who acknowledged that while such international turmoil is beyond the control of small island states, citizens must focus on resilience, self-sufficiency, and prudent use of local resources. DBS TV reports.
The things we can control, let us control it. And the things we cannot control, let us stop crying about it or trying to blame other people for it. We have to look at what will happen to the cost of fuel with the crisis. We have to watch what happened to our supply chain with that crisis. What's the answer? The answer is we have to see if we can eat, we can plant more of what we, grow more of what we eat. These are things we have control over.
Moving to news overseas. According to UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the UK will send 4 fighter jets to Qatar to strengthen UK defensive operations as US-Israel strikes on Iran continue. He confirmed that the first UK flight to bring citizens home has taken off and that 4,000 have already returned. BBC News has the details.
There are already these jets, Typhoons, already out in Qatar. They have a relationship with the Qataris and they were deployed before Operation Epic Fury actually kicked off. The UK sent them out. They send them out on a regular basis, but obviously they were stepping up the presence just to show support. Now, your question on what will they do?